What's going on, y'all? It's Friday. Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. Larry here. New episode of the podcast. Today, I talked to James Camacho. He's a New York-based comedian. Honestly, just super chill guy. Had a great chat with him from where he gets his inspiration from, where he got his inspiration from to start comedy, and how he uses real-life situations to craft into jokes, what it's like to perform outdoors, and several other things. And this guy's awesome. He actually he took screenwriting classes. He's had acting gigs too. I mean, he's actually done a lot. I can't even memorize half of even a quarter of his bio. His bio is actually pretty fucking huge and impressive. Go to his website, jamescamacho.com. For those who are wondering, his last name is spelled Camacho. jamescamacho.com. And follow him on Instagram at CamachoBro, CAMACHBRO. And on Twitter, it's the same handle, but the last O, I think, is either a 0 or it's an O. Anyways, social media at CamachoBro, CAMACHBRO. Hope you enjoy this one. It's great. Get your coffee, your caffeine, your water, whatever you want to do. Get on some comfy clothes, or hell, get naked. Strip down if you want to. If you're more comfortable that way. Let the nuts hang if you're a guy. If you're a female, let the, won't go there. Hell, let the jugs hang. Anyways, let's do this. I found you on Instagram and I was watching all your clips and I just found you incredibly funny. I found that I end up liking more so than the larger, super popular comics are like the, I guess, lesser known.
Mm-hmm.
We're like bit of a following fan base, but you know what I mean? Just the super huge comics that like literally everyone in the world knows.
Yeah.
And like and it's crazy, a lot of my favorite people I've discovered are all based in New York.
Yeah.
And they seem to be the, well, at least those are the only ones I've talked to so far, but they seem to be just genuinely down to earth, easygoing. I don't know anybody really that lives on the West Coast, but they just seem like they have a specific attitude to them. Not necessarily a bad thing, but
yeah, they're definitely not as real, not as human, I feel like.
Okay, so I'm not completely alien in thinking that.
No, I've been to the West Coast before, and even the nice people are still a little. It's fake, but fake sounds so mean. But I think it's more just not being real. You know what I mean? That's what it really, really comes down to. It's not fake. Fake is so like negative and like. I don't mean. Sometimes it's just like I think people are doing, especially on the West Coast, they're doing it. They think they got to do it a certain way or act a certain way.
Yeah.
I guess it's like playing the game almost. Over here, playing the game is not that big. It's more about just killing and being funny,
Yeah, that's crazy that you put it that way. I never thought about that. Yeah, because people say, oh, you're fake. Oh, this person's fake. That sounds so evil. It sounds so negative and so...
Yeah, well, it's the white girls made that so like, you're fake bitch. And you're just like, God damn it, like
damn those white girls, it's crazy. Like I've heard that come out of I don't know how many mouths. It's insane.
Yeah.
Just whether it's thankfully I don't know many people like that talk that way, but I've seen it firsthand and I'm just like I roll my eyes. I'm like, I like your thing of just be real. Be real. That's essentially the same as saying you're fake, but in a more positive way. Just be real, be yourself. Don't.
Yeah. It's so crazy. Our Are we recording now or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because no, like being yourself is all you really need to do. Like in anything, I feel like, but it's so hard to be yourself because I was just thinking this earlier. It's just like we go through life, we have our experiences, we have our childhoods, and then like you almost like we're like this pristine hard drive, and then we all get corrupted by experience,
Oh yeah.
childhood, and then I feel like, especially for me when I'm older, I'm trying to like backtrack everything that's happened to me and trying to like, why did that happen? I'm trying to like erase certain things. Like, okay, at work ethic, my Asian mom instilled. I love that, but then my Asian mom didn't yelled at me all the time. So now I have like this thing where I'm scared to disappoint people and stuff, and like I want to erase that and erase that and erase that, and it's like it's tough because it's mentally up here, and then we all have subconscious and like self confidence and like how we care about how we're perceived, which is so sick, that like
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. Like I have several like mental obstacles, like even just growing up, like, oh, I've got to hang out with these people so other people will think I'm cool, and I was never growing up, I wasn't like popular. I had my close group of friends that I hung out with in school and that's it.
mhm.
And but certain people like, oh, you have to do this way or you have to do this that way, and I would constantly worry about, oh, what does this person think about me? And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. And I just recently got to the point where I'm just like, you know what, this is who I am, this is how I am. If you don't like me, then fuck you anyway.
Yeah.
Like that's just it, and it's hard, it's easier said than done, but that's how I try to live my life. I'm like, because you can't please everyone, and the people I feel that are meant to be in your life will be like, all right, cool.
Yeah, just please the people, yourself, and the people that are closest to you. Like
Yeah.
just try to make them happy and make them like who you are. So you can't explain yourself to anyone. It's not a good way to live.
Yeah, no, it's
But
it's
tough.
exhausting too.
Yeah, but it's all in us. That's the thing. It's all
Hmm.
it's all in us.
And it's crazy because like I'd be like, man, am I the only one thinks like this? And it's that absolutely not. I mean, you said you were like that. I know several people that are like, oh, I want people to like me, and that I think that's human.
Hmm. Of course,
Um,
yeah. Even when you said like I like your stuff on Instagram, it's like that makes me feel really good because I work. Some of the videos I post they take days to film and edit and shit, and I put them out, and
yeah,
I'm
like your sober October ones.
yeah, all that, dude. It's so much effort and work, and like sometimes it's just like, does anyone even give a fuck? So it's like when you say it's good, it's just like, oh, thank God. But like, really, it was like for me, it was like this is something I want to do. It's a good idea, I think, and it's gonna help me get through it, and it'll be an experience because from it I've learned so much about filming and editing and upload all that shit, and I did it for me, but you still want people to like it, and you know, you want a lot of views on it, obviously.
Yeah,
It's
and
more of a
like
tangible result.
with this, I've learned when I decided I wanted to start this, like there's of course, there's several podcasts where, there is no video, it's just audio and you just listen to it. And a lot of them now are like, they're putting it everywhere, YouTube, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm practicing with, even though this editing this together is simple, I'm still learning how to do stuff like that. And like, I use iMovie and just practicing, learning new things. And it's hard, but it's not. I finally got like a rhythm down where I know exactly when to do what. So it makes it easier, but I don't know. I'm kind of like with you mentioning like video editing, like this requires editing. So I'm like learning stuff, this is also why I wanted to do this.
Hmm. Yeah, those skills are they're good. At this point, I feel like to have a podcast, unless you want to pay someone to do it. But then also, it's like it's fun to learn things too. And then like especially when quarantine started, I got some like video editing work in the beginning of quarantine, like some
Mm-hmm.
what do you call it, freelance stuff, just because I knew how to do it from doing my stuff. So just to know how to do it is, I think, is good too. It can lead to some money, and more skills the better.
Yeah, I'm not going to mention which ones I've watched on YouTube that do this, but I've noticed you can tell the ones that have like they have actual like a crew that like produces it and puts it together. And I'm like,
Yeah.
even if I was like swimming in money, I would still prefer to do it myself.
Yeah.
That's just me. I mean, I guess if you're super busy and you have, and you don't have the time and you have the money, then why not? But I still like, I like doing it myself. It's a challenge and it's more fun in my opinion.
That's what it comes down to. It's about convenience. So it's like, for me, it's like, I was joking about this the other day, but I was like, I want to get to a point where all I have to do is write jokes and perform, now, like, I just want to hire someone. I want to get to a point where I have money where I can just hire someone to do my bookings, do my social media, do my merch, everything else that I have to do now. You know, it's just it's about the time. But also, I want to know how to do it because when it gets to the point where I can hire someone, people to do it. I know if they're fucking with me or not. If they're doing it wrong, or I can take a look and kind of like get in there sometimes. But sometimes, like, these professional people, they know what they're doing, man. And sometimes it is just you'll get the better quality, and it'll be better done if you have just people who dedicate their lives to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tough. Money. It's all about money and time.
Yeah. And it's, also like these super, super, super pro. I mean, that stuff's not cheap.
No,
It's
it's
not
not fun.
cheap. It's not cheap at all. Like some of it's affordable, but I mean, especially the well produced ones, you've got like super professional cameras, super professional microphones, equipment, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And some people
Yeah.
have actual studios and
Yeah, it's you gotta spend money to make money. I get it, but sometimes, like, for me, it's like I literally if I wanted to, for the amount of stuff I put out, if I
yeah.
wanted to, and the stuff I feel like I need to put out, I would not be able to afford that all that stuff every week pretty much. So I'm finding out ways to do it for cheap, do a lot of the work myself. I have a couple buddies that may help me here and there. But yeah, but also do it where it looks professionally done too,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, okay. First question I wanted to ask you is when did you decided that this is what you want to do? When did you decide that stand up is what you wanted to pursue?
Um, Actually, I don't think I decided that until like after the first time I did it, I think. So
When
I
was
definitely
that?
want. Was that?
When was that?
So this was August. Oh shit! Maybe 17th, 2014 was my first set. So I took a. So I was I never. So it's funny because I never wanted to be a stand up. Like when I was a kid, it was never my dream. I saw stand up. I did watch stand up specials, and I thought it was so cool that people were on stage. I thought it was hilarious whenever someone would go up and just every comedy. So I'd watch South Park, and then no, it'd be like, what would it be? It'd be like South Park, Futurama, Attell's thing, and then there'd be like a Comedy Central special.
Yeah.
That would be like my night during the week from like 9 p.m. to like 11:30. Down to go to sleep, go to bed. And I always thought it was super cool, but I never wanted to do it. But I definitely was like interested in writing comedy and like doing like just kind of acting. And when I got to college, I took this screenwriting class, and I met this one of the professors was on the Chappelle Show, and he was like
Oh
a
wow.
comedian. Yeah, so it just seemed more tangible to me. Like I'm like, wait, like because for so long I was like, this is not a real thing. It's on TV. This is all made up. Even baseball games. Until I actually went, I didn't go to a baseball game until I was like old. So I was
Same
like, this
here.
is not real. Like, so when I went to the game, like, this is a fucking real thing. I can go on the field and get arrested if I really wanted to. So it kind of opened my up. Like, wait, this is like a real thing. This guy was on TV and I could touch him. Wow. So from then I was like, I looked more into like screenwriting stuff, and then stand up kind of was naturally just like a thing. It's like, oh, I write jokes, I could perform them. So I signed up for this class at Gotham. I took it, and like from like the first time I went up in that class, I was just hitting open mics immediately after. Like, I think it was like a Friday. It was a Saturday class, so I went Saturday. I remember I went Saturday, and then I went to AC Atlantic City for a weekend. I got like shit faced. But I remember leaving the class like, all right, this weekend I'm gonna get shit faced, and then I'm gonna go back and on stage again. So after I got shit faced, was hungover, I guess like Tuesday or whatever, I started doing open mics like regularly, and now it's like 6 years later, and the most I've taken off since, besides the pandemic, I took maybe like 3 days off. Like that was like the most consecutive days. So it was just from when I got on stage, it just felt right, and I immediately wanted to get back and do it again, and that like desire has never died.
Okay, so you kind of start off with just like the passion of learning to write funny stuff, like from your screenwriting classes and everything, and just performing.
Yeah, just kind of figuring out how I can get into comedy and show business. I think that's what I've always wanted. I've always like had a desire to get in the industry, and it was obviously in a comedic way. And the more more classes I took, the more different. Like I took a screenwriting class, and then I took a acting class, and I took a comedy class. Doing the stand up was the thing that like I just gravitated towards.
So like once you actually like did those open mics and you just did it, you're just like, oh, I have to do this. It just felt right. Like, oh, this is what I should be doing.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like a conscious like this is it, this is the thing. It was just like I want to do it again. I want to do it again. I want to do it again. And I was still screenwriting. I was still acting the whole time. Like I was like just doing everything I can. I remember I had this whole idea like I'm a big baseball fan, so I kept thinking like I want to be a 5-tool player. I want to act, write, comedy, blah 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 blah. And it just blossomed from that. And then about like I guess like a year or two later, when it's like you do 5 open mics in a night and it's terrible, and then like you're just like, oh, I think this is like, it's just like I started doing all stand up, and then the acting and screenwriting got considerably less, and then I was like, okay, stand up is the thing I definitely just want to do. That wasn't like I want to be a stand up. That's when it really came.
Now I've always I kind of like similar to you, like I would just watch certain shows growing up. Like I was addicted to Chappelle's Show, and I think like just the major specials would be like, I remember seeing even like sketch shows, Chappelle's Show, the one that Carlos Mencia did.
Oh yeah, Mind of Mencia.
Yeah, I loved that. I wish that would have went on longer. And stuff like George Carlin, pretty much, and Dave Chappelle. Those are pretty much like the bigger names that I really watch, and I'd watch South Park too, and other funny cartoons. But it's always fascinated me, like with the joke stuff. I wanted to like ask you, like, how do you actually go about writing a joke? Like, do you just, I don't know, could you just maybe see something, maybe observe something funny in your real life, and you kind of put like a twist on it? That just always fascinates me, and I like to ask everyone that.
So I would say like a lot of my act is basically like recounting like childhood stuff, just how I grew up, and just it's almost like I'm trying to figure myself out, and then I'll just make jokes about it. So it's a lot of personal stuff. But then now like, so I try to make half my act kind of like, or half the stuff I talk about me growing up and my life experiences in the past. And then I do try to talk about stuff happening to me right now. I try to have a healthy balance of that. But really, it's like, yeah, it's just, I guess it's just things bother me, if something bothers me, or if I feel just strongly about something, it doesn't have to bother me. If I love something, or if I hate something, or something angers me, or something like makes me feel certain, like a strong emotion, that's usually where the joke comes from. Because I think a lot of times with comedy, it's like you say the things you're saying are you just gotta like emotionally grip people into what you're saying, and then once you kind of have them emotionally invested or listening, then you can kind of break that tension with a joke. That's kind of really where it comes from. So
in like some ways, maybe you could just be telling 100% truth, and just maybe, from what I understand, maybe just how you say it and then just how you react to it. Like once you kind of pull them in, it's basically that could get laughs, just how you tell it.
Absolutely. Like
but
if
like
you
literally how you tell the story.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can build, and then once everyone's super off the edge of their seats, you just make a joke, and that's gonna get the biggest laugh. Because I think laughter is it's like an involuntary. It's almost like a lot of times it's like a relief almost. So yeah.
I was just curious because like, could you literally just say the entire like whatever, say a specific event, and you just tell the story of like what happened? Could sometimes that be all you do, just say exactly what happened, and then I'll get laughs just based on how you tell it? Or do you maybe sometimes add a little thing at the end of it? Or
So I do sometimes like I'm actually working on a joke now where it's just like I'm just say exactly what happened, and it's that in itself would get a lot of laughs. But I still at the end needed to kind of like wrap things up and put a bow on it. That's where like I took that and like I wrote a joke to end it. But the thing it's like, so it was a joke about me and my girlfriend going out to eat, and when the waiter took our order, I said thanks, man, and then she was like, did you assume his gender? And then I was like, yeah, but you did too. You said his, and then she told me that in order to not seem insensitive, that when he comes back, just call me man too throughout the night. So that in itself got people to laugh. And then at the end, then I had I would do all like oh, thanks, man. Looks delicious. Let's dig in, man. And then at the end, I had to write a thing where it's like, he gave the check to her. And then my girlfriend's like, he assumes you're a girl. And then I'm like, oh, no, I identify as poor. So all that, yeah. So all that was obviously written, but the thing in itself was all true. Nothing really fabricated. But yeah, there is like I used to tell it when I first told it. It was a lot of fat. Like I was saying, like just this unnecessary information, and through telling it and on stage and getting the feedback and writing and watching the video, I would just start cutting out things. Also, people's feedback too. People will literally like my girlfriend sometimes will tell me, or people will just be like, sometimes I don't do this a lot, but sometimes I'll accidentally do an open mic or a virtual thing. I just kind of walk into like a workshop where no one's really doing a set. They're just kind of like, oh, well, here's what I'm working on today. And they'll just say it. And then people like kind of give their opinion. And one of the guys told me, he's like, dude, you're just saying, you get too much shit on there. Just like get to the point. And so I just cut out a lot. Just get basically every word, every sentence. And this is with screenwriting too. Everything needs to have its purpose in the joke, in the writing. So I took everything out that was unnecessary. Even things I'm like, I think this is cute. I think it didn't serve any purpose.
you're saying based on the whole assuming the gender thing, you kept in like, the his, her, like the things that serve the purpose.
Yeah.
That's what you're speaking of, right? That's like an example.
Well, no. So what I'm saying is like I used to tell the joke where like, and I do this in real life where I kind of like I ramble a bit and I start repeating things over and over again to like emphasize a point. I think it's because like no one listened to me when I was a kid, so I like shout and like I just
I mean, I'm the
repeating.
exact same way. People are always like, I heard you when you said that the first 3 times.
Yeah, and you're just in your mind, you're like, I just want to make sure you fucking get it. And if you do that on stage, you just adding fluff and time and just get to the fucking point.
And that doesn't need to be there.
It doesn't need to be there.
All
Like
right.
I think in the beginning I was saying like, then the waiter came and he put down our food and the food looked delicious. And it's like, I didn't need any of that shit. Like, it's just like people get it. They can imagine the server coming back, with the food and shit. Like, I didn't need to explain that he put the food down. Like, I think that was one of the points. And then it was just good writing at the end. I just thought of some clever twists to it, and that kind of emphasized the point and got the laugh. So yeah, just experiences in my life, and then just kind of telling it in a funny way. Because but I think the main thing is like I have all these jokes about my parents being weird, and it's just like that stuff is so personal and it gets people invested, and then you just basically saying, my dad neglected me, and people are like, "Ooh," and then you make a joke about it. and then it kind of lightens the mood and goes, oh, this guy can make fun of himself. This is this is cute. But then he's talking about real things, but he's making it funny. Like, I think that's all it's about, really.
So yeah, like I think a lot of normal people like would just find a lot of just random everyday stuff funny. Just I guess basically just how you tell it. Cause sometimes at random, one of my normal friends just could be telling me like just something that happened to him, and then I start laughing just because how they tell it.
Right.
And not everybody would laugh at the same thing, but I mean, that just always fascinated me. I'm like, I wonder if I could just take one of my experiences and just like write it down and see if I can make it funny, just for shits and giggles. But like, I had an instance where I went to, and let me preface this by saying this is not a knock with anybody against anybody that has any mental health issues, but I didn't know at the time, I guess. I went to visit her, and she had like a full-blown meltdown. Like I feel like I should have had some kind of warning before I went to visit her. Like, hey, I'm this, I take medication, that would have been a nice warning, but when, I don't know, like little things like that. But I mean, I would totally be the type of person to make fun of myself because I do it all the time.
Yeah. You definitely got to make fun of it. Especially it's like, if you're not a person that, this is going to sound weird, but it's like, if you look like a funny person, you don't really have to do that as much. Like if you're overweight or you got a weird look to you got an outfit on that's crazy, or you just, ugly, whatever. It's just like, people already feel kind of bad for you. But like, I'm kind of like a clean cut, like regular guy. So I definitely need to I need something to sympathize with almost, So
yeah, and you're speaking like literally funny looking.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's not weird what you said. I totally get you 100%.
Yeah, if you're too confident, like, it's not good, especially on stage. People want to be able to relate to you,
Like, they kind of have that go like, I'm kind of doubting myself attitude, and like, okay, this guy is cool.
Yeah, but it's weird because you have to be this, like on stage, you have to be this alpha person. You have to control everything, control the room, but you also have to have people like feel for you and want to root for you,
So of all the places that you've performed at now, what would be the favorite place you've done a set at, whether it be before the pandemic or even during the pandemic? Because I know there's lots of places in New York. I mean, or wherever. It can be anywhere. Just curious as to what your favorite place has been.
I think, we can do, so let's, during the COVID, since things are so different, I feel like it's not even like, we got to separate them. But during the pandemic, I really enjoyed, I did a show at the Stress Factory. They have an outdoor setup with a tent, and it's probably pretty much the closest thing to a comedy club that I've done. So that was really great. Actually, the Stress Factory, even before the coronavirus, was great too. Like that club it seats like 300 people, and the ceilings are still low. It's a brick wall. It feels like a real comedy club, like that. It still feels like you're in a basement, and everyone's really scrunched up together. They have those generic black chairs and those round tables.
Yeah,
not round, just the black tables. They're very tiny tables. I would say like that's a favorite. Those are that's probably my top 10 or top 5, just because I'm from that area too. Other places that come to mind are like Levity Live is a really nice club. That's if like you really like want to feel like a big time comic, because it's this beautiful theater. Everything is spotless, high ceilings, super big stage. It's just everything is so nice and neat. It's weird because I miss comedy clubs. Like I did a club not too long ago, and it was like being in the green room and going on stage, and just everything about it is just, I miss it so fucking much, man. Yeah, I don't think your question was what my favorite place to perform was.
Yeah. That may be hard to narrow down. Just a general.
Well, now it's such a bad time to ask that question because it's like I miss anything now. You know, it's like
Yeah.
that's all. I'm like romanticizing everything. But like I think my favorites have been the Stress Factory stage, Levity Live. Yeah, the comic strip in New York City too. That's probably where I've done the majority of my sets in New York City. So I miss that place a lot. It's more like I'm sure my answer before coronavirus would have been completely different, but now I'm just kind of like, I'm just missing places. I'm just naming places that I miss.
I mean, even though the outdoor shows even seem really cool from what I've seen of them watching online.
Yeah, some of them are cool, but it's just a lot. It's just a lot going on with the outdoor shows. Sometimes it's just like something happens. Like there's a reason why comedy clubs are indoors with low ceilings and everyone's tight together. When people are 6 feet apart and outside, it's like when you're performing in a park, it's like just so much shit's going around. Like I don't mean just noise and stuff, but like people are walking their dogs. While you're on stage, people are looking at you. People are seeing all this crap happen, and then you're on the ground and it's like, is there a bug on my leg? It's there's just so much going on and like you can't have this many distractions. People used to complain about servers and shit at clubs, like, oh, you're taking the order too loud, or why they like the host spot sucks because everyone's taking their orders. Now people are just like outside on their phones. It's
Yeah, I've heard like stories of like, there could be like, I don't know, a band playing in the park, or I mean all kinds of crazy shit going on.
Dude, I did a park show recently and it was just like in the middle of it was on a Sunday in the middle of this whole plain where 100 people were picnicking and day drinking and just with their dogs or their kids, and we're just in the middle of this trying to do comedy, and it's just fucking impossible, man. It's impossible. Like no one like had to like you can't do anything. You're just standing up there trying your best, to survive. That's all you're really doing. Some of them, not all of them. Some of them are great, but even the ones that are great, it's just the bar is really low right now, is what I'm saying.
It just needs to get back to where everything's in a club.
Yeah,
because I went to see. I live in Virginia, so places are slightly opening back up, and I went to my first comedy show since the pandemic started, and it was indoors, and everything was. They had like chairs in groups of two spaced apart, and they had some tables with like more than 2 seats if there was like a group that came.
Yeah.
And it was done fairly responsible, I feel. And I had a good time. It was great. And before that, like the last one I went to was like probably 10 years ago at a Funny Bone in Richmond. And that, at least that location, you were mentioning, like just everybody was just like packed in. It was like a low ceiling, and it's just a much better vibe in my opinion.
Yeah, there's just something about everyone being squished together, and that makes it I feel like when everyone's squished together, you do feel like you're a part of a crowd, but when everyone's separated, you feel like you might be a part of the action. It's a lot of times too. It's like if you ever do a show that's like got like a really long room, so like the people in front, you see them, they're laughing because they're right up in front of you. They're laughing so hard, but you can tell the people in the back, they may be enjoying it, but they're kind of like they're not laughing as hard in the back. I feel like there's something about not the proximity and not being around other people that's kind of giving them this like, oh, like we can kind of slack. It's like more like they're watching a movie where they can kind of slack off a bit,
Yeah, I feel like if it were smaller, I'd feel like the laughter would feel way more powerful.
Yeah.
And now if it's okay, say there's somebody listening to this or whatever who is interested in pursuing comedy, like what advice would you give them, just out of curiosity, for somebody who says, I want to give this a try, or I'm thinking about doing this?
I just tell people to like someone that's never done it before, just do it, just go up and do it. No one gives a shit. I think the biggest thing is just to break that thing in your head where it's like that fear of public speaking, or putting
Oh
yourself
yeah.
out there. Just get over that. Just go up. That's really what the first couple sets are about anyways. Just go up there with your stuff, do what you can, and if it feels good, go back up. And that's really it. Just take it from there. Because when you're in the beginning, it's like, I would say 90% of these people that want to do it, they do it and they never do it again anyway. So I just say, just go up there and do it. But someone that's like, kind of like, I really want to make this like I've done like 30 sets or whatever. I've been doing this for a month now, and I really, really want to do this. And I just say, you just keep getting up, work at getting better between every set, work on getting better, write, rewrite, do different rooms. Don't go to the same fucking open mic every time. Like for me, it's like, there's these open mics right across down the street for me. I purposely will go an hour out of my way. Or I'll go to another state sometimes. I feel like I've been there too much. So just gotta go different. You gotta just keep getting better. And when you keep getting better, you will get better. And eventually people will take notice and things just kind of start happening from there. But it's like, you just gotta do it and work at doing it well. That's it. I mean, that's all I can say.
The first thing is just do it. You won't know until you try, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I definitely I remember like in high school, like whenever I'd have to get up in front of the class and do a presentation, I hated doing that.
Yeah.
So I imagine a lot of it is the getting over any stage fright you may have too.
Yeah. Oddly enough, for me, whenever I had that, and this might be why stand up ended up being my thing, it's like, I would get nervous for sure if I had to present, but I always looked forward to it. I always wanted to do it. It was something that's like, I think I do have a really big thing about being noticed and being seen. And when you're up there, people have to look at you. So I think I always was like, finally people will notice me because so I had a little thing where it's like, I want to make the most of this because I can't get attention in just a normal life.
Yeah.
So I never shunned away from that. I've always was super, I loved those challenges of presenting as a kid.
Now this is the last question. Hope this is a good one. I think you might think it's shit, but
No, I'm sure it's great. These are all good questions so far.
Well, it's weird because it's like I try to, this is still new and I'm tweaking things and I try to come up with general, if somebody's listening, and they've never heard of you before, it's a good way to get to know you.
Yeah.
If you were to write a sitcom based on your life, what would be the first, I guess, moment that you would highlight in that? So you have writing experience.
Yeah, I did write a sitcom. It's funny. This is not the first time someone's asked me this kind of question, and I always try to think about what I actually wrote for myself. I can't even remember. It's not good.
That's funny.
So basically, a big thing I'm trying to do in my comedy and everything is like, I'm trying to show people what it's like growing up mixed race. And not to be like, I hate this like sappy sympathy thing where people are like, it's so hard, it's so tough, but it's just different, it's a thing I don't think it's been touched on. Like, I think they have these shows like Mixed-ish or whatever, and I should probably watch them to see if they may have done these things, but from what I hear, those shows aren't that good but I really want to convey like how weird it is, like just how, especially because I'm Chinese and Puerto Rican, they're so on the opposite side. I really want to just show that God, what's the word I'm looking? The contradiction, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And just how confusing it is as a kid to like be mixed race, and most people are single race, and it's like people can, yell about race all they want and about equality, but it's like, when you're in prison, you just kind of gang up with people that are the same race as you. It's a comfort thing, and that's just, and then when you get more older and more mature and civilized, you kind of be like, it's not a big deal, we can all hang out. But like in our primal, we just kind of go with who's similar to us, So it's tough when you grow up mixed race because it's just like, no one really accepted me. Like the Chinese people didn't fully accept me. The Puerto Rican people didn't fully accept me. Even my family, like they would treat me differently. And so I never felt like I was one or two races. I just felt like I was half of two races, which is
Okay.
And when you're a kid, you want to belong, and I just never feel like I belonged. And I think a lot of half people experience that. Just kind of like, who do I relate to? Like, it's like if you don't have a dad or a mom, you're just like, it's just one of those things where you see everyone's like kind of grown up with a mom, with a dad, and you're just kind of like, why don't I have this basic birth thing? Where it's just like I'm a white person. I can hang out with white people, but if you're mixed, it's like you can't. Not saying you can't, but you just treat it differently,
Mm-hmm.
And that's for me. That's the thing I'm trying to explain. Like, and it's difficult, but it's difficult because it's never been done before, and it's unique, which is gonna make it the more rewarding if I can figure it out.
Well, it's definitely an interesting mix. I think it's not one that's super common.
No, not at all.
So this is a dumb question, but how is your last name pronounced?
Camacho.
I'm right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. People don't know how to spell it. It's my last name, so I think it's so simple, but people spell it completely wrong. People go Camacho. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like,
it almost makes you sound like an Indian or something.
Yeah, I think because they think I'm Asian, they think it's like just Camacho. Like they just think it's something. It's got to be something different, but
So, is there anything you want to plug? Anything you have coming up? Anything you want people to know about?
Nah, the dates are weird. I'll be in I'll be at Kazi's December 18th and 19th. I think those are the dates. But yeah, I know you're based in Virginia, right?
Yeah.
So I'll be there if you guys want to come see me. I'll be at Kazi's. That's a fun club. Other than that, the dates are so weird right now. But the big thing is just follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm trying to build the following up. If you can't come out and see me live because things are crazy, I'm always going to be posting stuff like stand-up clips or just even like mini documentaries and just sketches where you can enjoy me. And in the coming year, in 2021, I will be on Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud network, so watch out for that.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank God I need some momentum in my career. But other than that, it's just follow me. And if things open back up, I come to your town, just come see me. And we'll have a good time.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you doing this. This was fun.
I appreciate you having me.
Please follow the podcast on all social media at Life's a Bit Pod. If you're listening, please rate and write a review. If you're watching, please like, comment, and subscribe. New episodes every Friday. And remember, it's okay to laugh.